Hi, Taste for Truth support group. I'm Jules Lane, and it is time to wrap up week 11. I know, it's just flown by. We've got one more week, but week 11, we focused on setting a new goal that is beneficial to our bodies. Remember, we've talked about before that all things are permissible, but not all things are beneficial, and we wanted to choose something that would benefit our bodies because we were focusing on our bodies this week. And I hope that you guys chose something that is beneficial but very simple, not that is going to take huge calculations and lots of time to accomplish and do, but that is some tiny little simple thing that you can add to your day that enhances your life and benefits your body. I also hope that you took that to the Lord and said, Lord, what is one thing that I could add that would make a big impact? And if you did that, I'm sure he gave you an answer. And I hope that you've been successful in that over this last week, renewing your minds, because I know that when we start a new habit, starting a new habit is not easy. And sometimes we can forget. I know mine was to drink at least 60 ounces of water a day. And the first day that I tried to do it, I started too late in the day because I forgot that, 60 ounces isn't just, a glass of water. It's several of those. And so because I started too late in the day, I missed it by like 8 ounces or something. But I didn't beat myself up about it, which was really cool, because in the past I would have been like, you failed day one. Day one. You didn't even do your goal day one. Oh my goodness. This is a terrible start. But I didn't go there. It was kind of like, well, there was a reason, I got with God, said, why didn't I meet my goal? Well, I started too late in the day drinking enough water, adequate amounts, so that I could space it out throughout the day. So what you want to do whenever you're setting these goals, besides keeping them simple and making sure you consult the Lord, is you want to ensure that this goal, or any goal, doesn't become a higher priority than sitting at the feet of Jesus, than just fellowshipping with the Lord, because that is more important than any of this stuff. And we've talked about that over and over and over again. And there is no way I can say it enough. God is the answer, guys. God is the way you are going to keep your goals from here on. He's the answer. He's the one who's going to help you in the midst of all of this. He's the one that's going to release that weight off of you. And we have to bow to him. All of these things. I love our verse for this week. Colossians 3:17. And whatever you do in word or deed, do everything in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through him. Now, for the glory of the Lord is another one I've heard, another version. But everything you do should glorify him, should be for his glory, his kingdom glory. And taking care of our bodies is part of that, as long as we don't make it a higher priority than the truth that we're putting into our minds. Okay, so goal setting is very important. It's okay to have goals. When we get that backwards though, and our goals become more important, I know that I was extremely goal driven for many, many, many years, because I was caught in this performance trap of feeling the need to perform for people, so that people will be like, great job, you did great job. Because I craved that kind of attention. I wanted people to pat me on the head and say, good job. And so that became my goal, was to achieve that. And whatever I could do to achieve that, that's what I would do. And I had these goal lists, and nothing was going to get in the way of my goals. And unfortunately, I was not consulting the Lord on what my goals should be. So I did some useless stuff. And B, I was not operating in his strength, so I got burnt out, and I became a discouraged perfectionist for a while, to where it was like, what's the point? What's the point? I couldn't be content with it being okay and good enough. It had to be perfect, and it had to be just awesome. And some of us feel that way about our weight loss journey right now. Some of us feel like, the weight's not coming off like I want it to, and so we become discontent with that. But it is possible for you to be content in the midst of striving for goals, even if you're not quite hitting them the way that you want to. So goals are okay. as long as you keep them in perspective and make sure you're applying truth and make sure God is a number one priority, that your goals, you're setting them before God, not putting them before God. Okay, so you're setting them in front of him and saying, God, I want you to bless these goals. I want to do these for you, and making sure that they fall in line with his will for your life, instead of putting them before him. So getting up first thing and doing whatever that thing is instead of spending time with the Lord. So goals are okay. And so are the desires of your heart. Okay, now your desires may not be God's desires yet, but he doesn't beat us up for having desires of our heart. That's something that he wants to hear, and he wants to change your desires if your desires are not in line with his will for your life. So that little exercise we did this week where we wrote that letter to God answering, what are the desires of your heart? That was an exercise that Beth Moore had us do years ago in one of her Bible studies, which I thought was amazing exercise. At the time, I thought, oh my goodness, this sounds like it's all about me as I'm writing it down and going, oh my God, I desire this and I long for this and everything. And that first letter was very whiny and very much like, oh goodness, so superficial of what the desires in my heart were. And to see that change over the years, the more times I've done that exercise, I don't typically do it more than once a year, but the more times I've done that exercise, it's just incredible to me to see where my focus has started to change. Because what's neat, when you go back and read that letter 6 months from now, okay, I am almost certain, I know it has been the case for me, but there were numerous things every time I've done this, whether it was 6 months or a year. There were some that I put a year date on, so if you want to do that, go ahead. But 6 months or a year, and all these things that God would have answered in my life that I noticed that I could check off one right after another and go, oh my goodness, he supplied that. He provided that. Or the other cool thing, there were things on there that he had removed the desire. So I no longer wanted that thing. And so that was really, really neat for me to discover. So I'm so excited. I just can't wait for you guys to open that letter 6 months or a year, whatever you choose from now, when you open that and you go, oh, wow. And you get to see another form of treasure hunting where we get to look back and go, wow, look what he did. I poured out my heart to him and told him that these things were so special and important to me. And he either A, gave them to me, B, took the desire for them away, so I don't even care about it anymore. Or C, maybe it's still in process. There are some things that are still on my list from years ago, and I know God is fulfilling them because I see little steps along the way. But it was something that was really important to me at the time, and I put it down. And God cares, guys. He cares. He cares about every aspect of your life. He cares about the desires of your heart. He cares about your goals. He cares about your weight. He cares about those things. But more than all of that, he cares about the condition of your heart, your mind, your soul, your spirit. He cares about that so much more. And kingdom gain and growth in you is so far much more important to him than checking off boxes. He cares more about that than whether you get what you want. Okay? So he always has a purpose and a plan for your life. I love that verse. For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future, right? So God isn't out there just ready to smack you around. You are his child, and he wants good things for you. So keep pressing towards those goals. Make sure they honor the Lord and glorify him, and you'll be okay. It's going to be okay. Now, week 12, we are going to go on another treasure hunt, okay? It will be our last one of this session, and I really want you guys to dive into it and have fun with it. Really look back at what the blessings God has brought. And we're talking about so much more than scale victory here, guys. We are talking about big things, heart changes. I know that my heart has changed over these last 12 weeks. Actually, it's been 11, but almost 12. I know my heart is changing, and he's renewing a right spirit within me, and growth is happening. So it is just such a beautiful thing to witness. I love seeing your posts, guys. I love seeing what God is doing in your life. And it is such an honor and a privilege to walk this journey with you. And I hope that you'll continue to press on through week 12, no matter what that scale's doing, guys. Scale is not important. No matter what it's doing, press on, press on, press on. Okay? Because he who called you is faithful, and he will surely do it. I'll see you later.